Imagine being Paul Skenes. You waited your whole life to win Cy Young, and you have bombshell reports coming out that same morning about Paul allegedly, I mean, a teammate said it, so I guess it's true, that Paul wants to be a Yankee. I cannot believe that this is a story we have to talk about. But at the same time, Tarik Skubal also had to address stupid rumors on a day that should have only been about his accomplishments. I'm getting mad already. Now, staying with trade talks, but moving to legitimate trade talks, the GM of the Cardinals, the former GM of the Red Sox, Chaim Bloom, he basically said, come one and come all, talking about Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, Brendan Donovan, and Lars Nootbar. They're reportedly all in play to get traded. And in just a second, we're going to give a big update on the Tampa Bay Rays and where they're going to be playing in 2026. If you're new here, my name's Fuzzy. I break down baseball and give you guys updates every single day, so if you never want to miss out on any trade, signing, or rumor, hit that subscribe button. And also, don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fuzzy. Whoa, we have a couple breaking stories in today's recap, but this is fresh off the presses. Emmanuel Clase has just been arrested at the JFK airport. He will be arraigned at 2 p.m. That's the update on Emmanuel Clase. He's been arrested by FBI agents. So before we talk about the Cy Young winners, Paul Skenes talking about the Yankees trade rumor, Tarik Skubal having to defend himself and say that he wants to be a Tiger for the rest of his career. We have some breaking news about the Tampa Bay Rays. We know that last year they technically weren't the Tampa Bay Rays because they couldn't play in Tampa Bay in Tropicana Field because a hurricane completely destroyed their roof. Well, that is going to be fixed for 2026. They are officially going home. And one thing I do want to bring up is the fact that I am very curious to see the regression possibly of Junior Caminero, because he hit 315 with a 360 on base and an almost 160 OPS plus at home, which is essentially Kroger's version of Yankee Stadium because it's the Yankee Stadium Spring Complex. On the road last year, Junior Caminero hit 218 with a 270 on base percentage and a 105 OPS plus. So technically speaking, he was still above average thanks to his unreal pop, but a 270 on base is pathetic. On the flip side, Shane Baz is going back to Tropicana where he had a 3.06 ERA in 2024, and then he almost had a 5 ERA in 2025 because of a near 6 ERA in that Yankees spring training complex. And I'm just really curious to see how 2026 is going to shape up for guys like Junior Caminero, who raked when they weren't at Tropicana, and Shane Baz, who carved when he was at Tropicana. One more bit of breaking news. I'm going to keep this really short, but I just caught this out of the side of my eye because Jeff Passan tweeted out the Padres ownership group is looking to sell. The Sider family, the brothers, and I don't know if the wife is involved. I can't exactly remember how it goes, but it looks like they're trying to offload the Padres, which is crazy. So hopefully it doesn't affect their chances at signing some big-time free agents because we saw that happen last year. Congratulations to Tarik Skubal and Paul Skenes for winning the 2025 Cy Youngs. Skubal, he's the first back-to-back Cy Young winner since Jacob DeGoat in 2018 and 2019 when he was just, he was the real-life Terminator. Tarik just became one of a handful of pitchers in the history of baseball to bring home 2+ Cy Youngs, and I hate this. In his post-Cy Young conversations, instead of just being able to solely focus on how historically good he's been, he had to answer questions about trade rumors and leaving Detroit. Now, obviously, he was quoted as saying things like he wants to be in Detroit, but again, you don't hear this from Dodgers winners or Yankees winners. They get to focus on their accomplishments, them being with the franchise for the next decade because they've been given extensions or long-term contracts. It just makes me sick that cheap owners continue to muddy history. It's just actually pissing me off. Garrett Crochet finished in second place. He is one of the nastiest pitchers I've ever seen. He deserved every vote. And Hunter Brown, he finished in the top 3. So not only does he get a $1.5 million bonus because that is part of the PPI incentive program. That is the thing where if you call up a top prospect on opening day and he goes crazy as a rookie, even a few years later, you can get rewarded, and that's exactly what's happening with the Astros. Because Hunter Brown is still part of the PPI incentive, the Astros, they get an extra draft pick. So you might be thinking, okay, Paul Skenes obviously won the Cy Young, so he's going to get a $2.5 million bonus and a PPI draft pick for the Pirates. Well, the Pirates chose to have him throw 27 innings in the minor leagues last year, so they called him up too late. The Pirates are not eligible for a draft pick even though Paul Skenes won the Cy Young, because the Pirates don't do anything right. One thing to note about Skenes before we talk about his Cy Young season, he's now a free agent in the winter of 2029, so that'll be really important. He's up to 2 years of service time already, even though he hasn't played 2 years, which again is going to mean that he's a free agent a whole lot sooner. We'll talk about that in a moment. Because for right now, I just want to focus on Paul Skenes maybe having the greatest start to a career by not only a starting pitcher, maybe an athlete. He has a 1.96 ERA through his first 2 seasons, and through 55 starts, he has the lowest ERA in the live ball era. He is a 2-time All-Star Game starter. He's only played in 2 seasons, so he became the first rookie in 30 years last year to start an All-Star Game, and now he's dropping banger quotes like the fact that he loves that Pittsburgh fans, he holds the team accountable. They do not show up when the team stinks. Check this out. I mean, this was sick. I thought there was a clip. I cannot find it, but this is what he was quoted as saying about fans not showing up. "This isn't my city. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I'm adopted by this city." Why did I read that like Bane? I was adopted, but sorry. The fans show up for us when we are winning. I personally love that. If we are losing, the fans don't show up in the same numbers. It's not like Chicago or St. Louis. If you want fans, you got to win. They deserve it. So Paul is basically saying, hey, Bob Nutting, if you want to get more fans, these fans aren't stupid. Get a better ball club, dummy. The funniest part about what Paul Skenes just said is that, I don't know if it was the day before or just after Paul Skenes said this, but there was a report that the Pirates would be willing to commit a whopping $30 to $40 million in free agency because they're only 30 to 40 away from being a playoff contender. Bob Nutting of the Pirates makes me physically ill. And now the meat and potatoes of today's video. Not only did Tarik Skubal have to defend himself and talk about the elephant in the room, because a lot of people are saying these are media creations and that it's not really the fault of owners, but there was a report from Randy Miller, a Yankees reporter. He reported that a teammate, an anonymous teammate at that, it's just crazy how reporters can get away with that. Like, imagine if I just said on a video, hey guys, Jose Ramirez wants to be a Dodger. I can't tell you who said it, I can't tell you why, but trust me. Source, trust me, bro. Anyways, back to the article itself. Randy Miller said that a Paul Skenes teammate has been saying that Skenes wants to be in New York, which is crazy timing because he literally saved the article for the day of the Cy Young announcements. And you're not slick, Randy Miller. And also, I don't even know if you're telling the truth. Now, a lot of people are saying, obviously, he's telling the truth because reporters and editors have bosses. So the bosses know the anonymous player, but to keep that connection, they can't report on who the player actually was. A lot of people are saying it's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa because he was a Yankee. I don't know. The connection that I first thought of is that his girlfriend, Livy Dunn, I think that's how you say it, has a place in New York. She almost bought the former residence of Babe Ruth. Maybe she wants to be there, and that's part of the speculation, but Skenes, he did officially respond to that rumor.
I got shown the tweet and didn't really think anything of it, and I got some text about it. I'm on the Pirates. My goal is to win with the Pirates. I love the city of Pittsburgh. The fans are hungry to have a winner in Pittsburgh, and I want to be a part of the group that did that. The way that fans see us outside of Pittsburgh is not supposed to win. There are 29 fan bases that expect us to lose. I want to be a part of the 26 guys that change that. I don't know where that came from. The goal is to win. I don't know the reporter that reported it. I don't know the player who supposedly said that, but the goal is to win, and the goal is to win in Pittsburgh.
So there you go. Paul just nipped it in the bud. Now back to some free agency talk about Paul Skenes. So the Pirates get Paul for 4 more seasons, but just 2 of them before arbitration, and he's going to get some monster arbitration numbers. And I don't know if the Pirates are going to be able to afford it because if you don't remember, Juan Soto, he set a record $31.5 million in arbitration in 2024. Ohtani, he set the record the year prior, at least it was at the time, with $30 million. So if Paul Skenes continues to be essentially Jesus Christ himself in cleats, he's going to get $30+ million in arbitration. The Pirates don't do that. So I'm not even thinking about Paul becoming a free agent in the winter of 2029. If they don't get an extension done, and Paul has basically said that there's been no extension talks, he might get offloaded before 2028. I will scream this from the rooftops until I can't anymore, until I'm blue in the face. Teams like the Pirates, teams like the Tigers, even though the Tigers are owned by one of the richest owners in all of baseball, the fact that they're not extending their homegrown superstars, even the Guardians. Francisco Lindor in 2026 on paper is literally what would turn the Guardians from a playoff fringe team into a World Series contender. He's the perfect player, but of course they already traded him away. You have to secure these hometown superstars like the Royals did with Bobby Witt Jr. If the Royals can dish out that much money for a guy like Bobby Witt Jr., the Pirates can do the same with one of the greatest pitchers we've ever seen. Again, it just makes me sick. I'm like, Ooh, I'm getting fired up. Instead of solely focusing on history and their accomplishments, Paul Skenes and Tarik Skubal had to speak at length about staying with their team and speaking on trade rumors. Whether you think that's a media creation or not, it's a thing because they're not extended. We don't know if they're going to be with their team in the next few years. And again, it's the owner's fault. Don't get it twisted. It's their owner's fault. You can't see, but I'm literally pointing. I'm fired up right now. It seems as if the Cardinals are trying to decide on whether or not they should fully do a implosion or if they should keep a few guys and keep building towards a good 2026 and beyond. I don't know what they're about to do, but on the chopping block, according to the rumors out of the GM meetings, which are in Vegas, which hopefully one day I get invited to because I live here, Nolan Arenado and Sonny Gray are back on the chopping block, which we know that Arenado was 100% going to be on it because Chaim Bloom has already confirmed that, hey, yeah, Nolan Arenado is willing to waive his no-trade clause. He was not willing last year because there was a trade on paper to send him to the Astros. He said, no, I don't want to go there. But this year, Arenado, he's on board to move on. And now Sonny Gray is allegedly on board as well. Again, according to Chaim Bloom, other players that could be moving as well, Brendan Donovan and Lars Nootbaar. Some pretty big names if you're asking me. The Cardinals used to be pretty good at developing starting pitching. When I was a kid, I used to routinely watch every Chris Carpenter start or every start by Adam Wainwright. They were absolute dogs. Even guys like Jack Flaherty from the last few years, or who's another one that I can think of? Lance Lynn. The Cardinals desperately want young and controllable pitchers with a ton of talent, and they're willing to offload some of their best offensive pieces to get that. And same with Sonny Gray. He's a little bit older, so they're going to try and flip him for some younger pitching. The Guardians are in play right now as someone who can acquire either a Lars Nootbaar or a Brendan Donovan. Not so much Nolan Arenado because they don't really need him, but the Guardians are littered with young and controllable pitching, so it's a perfect trade scenario. Yankees fans are licking their chops at the possibility of adding a Brendan Donovan or even a Lars Nootbaar. I don't know who's going to want Nolan Arenado because he was bad last year. But in the comments down below, I want you guys to fill me in. Do you think that Nolan Arenado and Sonny Gray should be at the top of trading conversations because of their past, or do you think that they're just a little bit too old to trust? And with that, I'm going to leave you guys with a clip from Scott Boras talking about his top free agent, Pete Alonso. I don't know if this guy just loves alliteration or what was going through his brain, but this is Scott Boras talking about Pete Alonso. Check this out.
There's no doubt that Pete's pursuers are primed to pay the power piper. Pete picked a perfect period to play preeminently, really a primary position. Playoff parched plethora will pounce to participate in the polar plunge.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.